right. Yeah. How's everybody doing tonight? Let's get a few people popping in here. Not as cold in the garage tonight as it was last week. Last week was terrible. If you guys remember, it's a little warm. At least the wind has died down because it was stupid windy earlier today. Let me just try something real quick. All right. Is that a little better? Yeah, it does seem to be a little bit better. All right. Let's get some people out. We got somebody in. So yeah, not as good of news as we get things going. We'll sure talk about a few of these things multiple times today, but we will make sure that's on. Didn't get the 60 running. We get more into that a little bit later about why the 60 is still not a runner. Ran yesterday, but I think I got the right parts ordered for it, so we'll get into that once we get going into the show a little bit. But yeah, I had a couple videos come out this week. As you guys see, I fancy my lighting up a little bit, so it looks a little more neat around the farm all there. But yeah, so it's the week of the show. That's also happening, so we'll be pretty busy this week with finishing up the pedal tractor sled. Got a bunch of stuff on that. Parts hopefully are going to come in for that. Now I got to get the 60 running, which hopefully all the parts I kind of bonsai ordered from my favorite place today. So we'll see if that actually goes through or not. We'll see if hopefully I get everything. I'm kind of going off the whole, like, if I don't get everything, I guess it'll be fine, but I'm hoping that everything shows up. We're going to have to play that one by ear, but we'll see. I normally don't order stuff like this from Corvs when it's this fast, but I also knew that the last set of points I had for that 60 probably weren't right because they were just like a set of just universal points, and they weren't making the right contact that I wanted, and so I think that was causing a lot of my issues, having a really weak spark. That and in the combination of the car being screwed up made everything just really, really not right. So I went ahead and ordered a right set of points from them for it, so that way, hopefully, if all goes well, it won't. I don't like that. It'll actually work out. So if I get, usually Corvs only takes a couple days to get it, so we shall see. But yeah, hopefully everything works out well. We'll find out in the next few days. Like I said, if everything goes well, those parts should bolt right on. I also got the set of the cloth, the actual cloth. There we go. Now I'm live. Oop, get out of there. Got a notification that I was live. It's good to know since I'm broadcasting it. But I also got man, I can't talk tonight. A set of wires for it. The only thing I didn't get was a coil because they didn't sell them at Corvs. So, but I also got wires, the cloth style, so that'll be good. But the carb, I think I still need to make a float adjustment. I think I adjusted the float. I think I adjusted the wrong way. What's up, Tom? So I think that might be an issue later on, but we'll find out if we'll find out. I might have to. At this point, I want to get it running first, and then I'll go from there. So yeah, that's why the 60 is not running now. It's kind of really great. Hopefully, like I said, if you see it at the show on Saturday, which also talking about the show, we'll talk about it here. Like all dirt track racers this last weekend, there was no dirt track race this weekend. Normally, I at least like to talk a little bit about it. I let if you guys Done Right TV does a show every Monday night recapping the race weekend with Shane Davis, but I usually like to have a little bit of news if something's gone on. Yet nothing happened race-wise this weekend, only because everything got rained out. I mean, a couple tracks like East Moline and Dubuque that were going to run tonight really tried to wait. I mean, East Moline called it last night, and I kind of commend them on that because I think it's smart. Like guys have an option if they want to try and go run somewhere else, but and it's the same deal with a lot of tracks where this early in the season the tracks are going to be rougher just because as the frost comes out of the ground. The same thing it does in our fields around here where the frost helps break that dirt up and helps kind of loosen it all up. It does the same thing to a dirt track. So as the frost comes out of the ground in a dirt track, it's going to be not as compact deep down. They can do all they want to the top of that surface and they can work it in and they can try and get that all in there. But if it's 6 inches or 8 inches is as deep as they're compacting it, underneath there isn't. So as the night goes and as moisture comes in and out because the track's going to get hot with the tires on, I mean, as that track temp changes throughout the night, you're going to have really rough tracks. And that's why you see them talk about beginning of the year, they always call motocross tracks because like motocross, it's going to be a bit rough. So a lot of guys anyway at the beginning of the year, guys aren't worried about points or things like that. They will sometimes you'll see them hang back and not race for a few weeks because they figure it's better to you're gonna say a rough racetrack can ruin a set of shocks, can break a lot of parts just as quick as getting a good finish because of how rough it is. And I know some guys that like the rougher racetracks. They feel like they do a little bit better at them just because sometimes they go out there and guys are hanging back a little bit and they're out there driving like a maniac. D-Rec, I'm looking at you. There's a night at Davenport Speedway where before they switched to the current promoters, it was the last week of the former promoter, and it was a rough track. And I remember watching him, and he was bouncing his way pretty good. So, but either way, what makes that or where I'm alluding to with that is that's why a lot of tracks just chose to skip another week. And again, the temperatures aren't quite nice enough to get a big crowd. You're going to have a little bit of a crowd because it is early in the year, but especially on a Sunday night track, it's always tough. You're fighting with school, having it be a school night and a work night. So most Dubuque Speedway and East Moline also chose to just call it this weekend. So no racing really went on around here locally. So obviously you didn't see me go to any of the racetracks because of that also. Until next weekend, you won't see me going really anywhere. But all that to say, there is a little chance of that R word happening on Saturday. So I'm gonna tell you guys now. Stay tuned on Bibster Promotions on the Facebook page, on my Facebook page, on this channel for any updates about the show, anything that's gonna change. I mean, right now I plan on, unless it's like really bad, go for it. Everyone's got exhaust covers. I mean, you could get a gallon container on the big honkin' for the pulling tractor. But that's kind of what we're thinking right now. So if you guys are, Tom, if you guys are thinking about going, contact me through either Facebook or there, and I'll give you my number so that way if anything changes, I can contact you directly. Or just add me on Facebook, that kind of stuff. That way I want to make sure, like I said, I'm not going to think that way. I'm going to keep forging ahead it's not going to happen. But at the same time, I want to be realistic and give everyone the opportunity to do what they need to do. But also in that regard, talked a little bit more this week. We are, as you guys know, the week after. I said last week in the stream was May 1st, which is, I'm an idiot because that's Sunday after my show. So it'll be next weekend. So May 7th is going to be when Flegel is doing his plow day up in Freeport. And again, if you follow my channel, I'm sure you're subscribed and following Timothy Flegel's channel. That's what you just search that's his name. And he's going to be having a big plow day. I'm going to be up there filming. I think my dad's going to go. I think Grandpa might be going too. So if we all go up there, you're going to see us probably all in videos. And like I said, I'm going to help him film with his GoPro. And then I'll probably doing a ton of filming myself just to really get some really cool coverage out there. So make sure to check that out. He's also claiming, like I said, he's going to get us behind the wheel of a tractor, which again, as you guys all know, my plowing experience is only ever plowing snow with a truck. So I believe, I could be wrong, but I think it's a little different. We'll find out. But anyway, so that's kind of future updates, what's going on the channel. Like I said, you'll probably see a bunch of videos this week as I'm getting stuff ready. I need to get. There should be like 4 things I should be doing on this tractor before the show, but in reality, none of that stuff's going to happen till probably um, till polling season now, just because it doesn't need to happen. I'll probably throw the front weight bracket on there just so I can put a couple suitcase weights on it at the show to make it look cool and tough. But other than that, that's probably all that's going to happen. You're going to see on the farm all before then. And like I said, it might not get any of that stuff. It might just go the way it sits right now, just because of with all the other stuff going on. That tractor is the least of my concerns. We're trying to take like 6 tractors, I think is the goal that we've at least set. And so everything looks like we should be able to take 6 easily there, but we'll find out. And that also means at the end of the day, we got to put 6 of them back on trailers and take them all back to the farm. So it'll be a fun day. But yeah, so that's what you'll probably see the rest of this week. But yeah, so like I said, the 60 project for those joining in, didn't get the 60 running today. I mean, we heard it fire once or twice, but there's an ignition problem, and we thought we had an ignition problem yesterday, and I adjusted the points and got them what I thought was better. But I'm thinking that we might have been having that might have been an issue that we were having the whole time as well, just because of how it was running. And like I said, when I got the points for it, I just got the. It's hard to get points nowadays anyway. In reality, I should have gone with the electronic ignition, but eventually we're going to probably be switching that tractor over to 12 volt. As much as it did turn over 6 volt this last couple of days, I think we could almost keep it 6 volt and be fine, because it seems to be running really well when it actually fires. But the big long plan is eventually probably switch that over to 12, switch it to 12 and go positive ground. And if we do that, then you will see. Obviously, you'll see all that stuff. But then if I go with electronic ignition at that point, then I will. It'll be easier to do it once versus because it's like $150 to get the kit, and I didn't want to do that and then switch it later on, then have a 6 volt. Or it would confirm that we're going to keep it 6, but since that's not technically my tractor, I don't want to jump the gun on that one yet with doing the electronic ignition. So. Which that is a kit. I've seen some guys on YouTube do it. It's basically just it replaces the pickup with the points rides, and it's an electronic one, so it basically acts the same as what your points do, but it allows you to have a better spark, and obviously one that's way more maintenance free because you're not having to screw around with points all the time. Which that's what's frustrating about that tractor is like this one. Knock on Formica wood here on this table. It's been just solid as a rock. Maybe it's got electronic ignition. I don't even think I've ever looked at the points on it. Again, knocking on all things wood because I needed to drive this weekend. But and so there's there's that one seems to work, and this other new one that I got is already kind of acting goofy. Like I said, it's probably more self-induced shotgun blast because of how when it got installed or how it had to act to get installed, and it's probably more what's doing it, but I also blame that all that stuff new is junk. So we shall see though. We'll make sure we'll bring you along. Like I said, it probably won't be till Friday. Cause like I said, I ordered the stuff from Corvs only because I knew it would be the right stuff and I could get it usually by the time before the end of the week. We shall see. Like I said, it was also kind of my if I don't get it, that kind of seals the deal on that tractor not going to the show. Even though I wanted to go to the show, but I didn't want to screw around with other parts. What's up, Dave? Crazy Dave's jumping in. He's been working on, and if you guys don't, obviously it's one of those channels that if you're following me, you should be following him, but if you haven't, but check that out. It's Crazy Dave 4455. They're going through right now. It's kind of a bittersweet set of videos where they're selling off the family farm that's been on the family farm. I mean, the buildings were since like the early 1900s, and having to sell it off just because of they're getting kind of encroached upon them by folks like me, city folks, and so they're having to sell the farm. So they've been going through some videos of selling the pieces off, being able to save as much as they can. So, which has been neat to see, pieces that they were talking about some of the roofing and stuff was going to be used in hotels and stuff. Yeah, it's been. Looks like it's been busy. You only got like a week. At least in the last video, you said you had like a week and a half left, which I don't know how long you go up to upload, but it's got to be getting pretty close to pretty close to that time. So go check that channel out. He's still going to be able. They're keeping all the Olivers, so there's still going to be a ton of tractor content. But and then you can go back and see what he documented last year's basically whole year, and to kind of document all the stuff they did on the farm, so that way they kind of have that for forever. That's the nice part about YouTube. You put stuff out there, and I mean, as long as it seems like it's going to be at least documented somewhere, and you can always bring that up. May 2nd, unless the closing gets pushed. Okay, so yeah, it's going to be, it's like I said, they're in their last week, so be kind of thinking about that. Check out the channel, give it a subscribe, and kind of follow along. Like I said, it's hard to watch. We were very fortunate that when everything went down with how we ended up with our farm, that we were able to keep the barns. We couldn't keep all of the land, and Dad and I talk about how much we would have wanted to try to, but it would just not have worked, and it would have been so hard to make that justification. Now, of course, with what the land prices have done, if we would have and then sold it now, well, that would be a different story. But just we wouldn't have done it. We would never have sold it. And so the way we did it with the people we know, the family that farms it now, it's not. It still feels like it's not. We know it's on our farm, but it still feels that way. And they have all the buildings there. It's a really big blessing, because we know, like, watching that, it's kind of seeing that going, man, if what we were gonna have to do. I remember at one point we were discussing, like, having to either get rid of most of the tractors except for a couple, and like trying to find places to put them. And so my hat's off to you, Dave, as you guys go through that, and hopefully you can find a spot where you can put a shed up and start filling it full of tractors again. I know you said the other day that it's going to be, oh, hey, what's up, Legal? Speaking of, we're talking about the plow day, not this Saturday, but Saturday after. There he is right now, the man in the flesh. Looks like he's got his ramps done on his gooseneck. I saw on your Facebook post, which is good. I've seen your loading and unloading before, and it involves using a ditch and just going for it. So that'll be nice, because there's not really a good ditch at Kingpins. There is, I mean, technically, there's a couple businesses around there that have loading docks, but that would just not have been as fun. Not as fun. So it'll be a lot nicer to have that set up. But yeah, so check that channel out and see how he's doing there. And like I said, it's good, hopefully be able to save a lot of those memories and be able to save a lot of that stuff. And looks like you've been able to, which is good. And there's been a lot of guys that have, been able to see the stuff and get be able to keep some of that stuff on another, go to the nut farm. Yeah, you got to find a ditch first. Yeah, that's driving around trying to find a ditch to unload at. I can just only think about, like, at you had a decent one like at Brownstown last year. There was that pole that we were pulling on the backside of a baseball field, and that one was like, you could load and unload in one spot, but you couldn't leave your trailer there. So it's like, there's on the sides of the highway, there's trailers basically all in the ditches, and surprised that no one was stuck at 1 in the morning when the pole actually ended. That was a wild one. Hopefully, we'll see more of that this year from me, where I'll be going to a lot more polls. Not necessarily taking that to a lot, but there's gonna be a lot more where I just pile in the Honda, grab a tripod, a battery pack, and some water, and go and film. So that way, it's easier to just take a camera, and it makes it where then it's not having to try and do 15 things. Oh yeah, well, I think by the end of that night, Fleagle, everybody was in that state. I remember filming it and being like, oh my gosh, it's getting later. Everyone's got to drive home, and half of them got a trailer. I think it ended at almost 1 in the morning. Yeah. Yes, I do know how to do that. That is true. It's one of my high skills. I didn't spend too much tonight. I didn't spend anything before today. Because you already had spent the money on that kit. But yeah. So anyway, that's a fun pull. It's a good hook and track. It's a little narrow, but it's a good hook and track. So let's see. I got distracted, which, if you all know from watching my videos, is highly true, especially when I'm just trying to talk off the cuff. Anyway, tractor pull season. Eastern Iowa I don't know if I said this last time, did release their schedule. I'm going to try and hit all of those. So there's 6 hooks there, starting June 12th, I think, is their first hook. and that's at Grand Mound, I think. Yeah, Grand Mound, which that's that hill. That's that pull you go uphill. So hopefully this will be ready to go. Maybe I'll have the Super ready to go. I'd really like to have the Super ready to go. I need to get that radiator back. It's been a year. Um, and then hopefully I get that one done and back, and maybe the VAC. The VAC won't pull there, but it'll be done. If that motor ever shows up, but that'll be good. Ooh, that's a good idea. You need to get in that, especially if you need to bump up one class and you don't want to put any extra weight on. Just have me pull. But that's true. I don't know. I was gonna drive Don's tractor, his U. Yeah, offer that, but I never done anything with the hand clutch. And in my head, I thought maybe not doing a hand clutch wouldn't be the time to learn when you're hooked to a sled. Maybe it would have been. I don't know. It is a little hot. It's a little hotter to trot. So, but yeah, I'm gonna try and go to all the Eastern Iowa ones. Ooh, good. I'm excited to see those. Yeah, you got that 66 seemed to be running pretty good. Um, because you guys have a pretty local club up there that you kind of go a lot with, Dave. Hopefully, so that's what I like about the antique tractor pulling thing is like you can be a guy like me that lives in town, and I have one and it just kind of hangs out there. Does it say? Yeah, yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like I hadn't done it, and it was also like if I remember that day was the day I didn't wear a hat and I had like sunburned my whole head, and it was hot, and I was like I just wanna. No, I'm just good to film. And plus, too, I was like, I don't want to break anything. I don't want to. I hadn't learned anything. Well, I had never learned anything. If I learned things, I wouldn't make my YouTube channel would be much less exciting. Yeah, I'm pretty sure on that 60, when I'm gonna also have to pull. Speaking of not learning things, I'm gonna pretty sure have to pull that car back apart. Because the more I think about it, I made a float adjustment, but I think I made it the wrong way. So I think that's why I didn't show you guys a video. There's like a 2-minute video introing the video today that I filmed while I was sitting here working on it, and then I scrapped it because I didn't get the tractor running. So depressing times. We're ahead by all. It ran yesterday. Is the worst part. Not a good time. Anyway, enough about that. So yeah, the tractor show this weekend. Still finishing up a couple things. There will be. My grandpa's gonna help with registration, so if you're going, make sure to you'll get if you want to just get some info. So when we do shows next year, we can just kind of be able to contact you and send you a letter saying, hey, here's when the shows are, and be able to follow along. And hopefully, we'll be filming some videos at it. I know Flegel, when he's there, he'll be filming some stuff. So we'll be doing that. I think I'm gonna try and do some kind of at a certain time, like a parade. We just kind of drive around. I don't know. I was gonna see everybody fire all their stuff up. Say that as a guy who's going to probably have tractors that don't run. So everyone can kind of hear them run. And that's probably, and then we're still working on the music thing. The pedal tractor sled will be done, but it'll probably be more set up not as we're going to have the 5-year-olds all go, the 6-year-olds. They'll probably more just set up and kids can try it out. We'll have some supervision. Yeah, that's what I'm going to learn how to do this year. This is my year to learn how to plow. It's going to be ugly. Just saying it now. If I've learned anything from any of my other skills I've learned on tractors is at 33 years old, I should have learned this 20 years ago at this point. But is what it is. Oh yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else with the show. Yeah, and then afterwards, even though the show ends at 5, the place doesn't close at 5, so I'm sure we'll hang out and have some fun there too, so Make sure to come hang out. It's going to be a fun day as long as nothing bad happens. I know. The problem too, Flegel, is I know where there's another 99, and that driving yours is only going to make the other 99 want to touch it. But that's another situation for another video, which I think I've actually talked about that. It doesn't make sense right now to do where that one's at and what it would take. It's not worth it. We have, I basically just turned one of our tractors that was in the never gonna run list into a tractor I'm gonna make run with different power. I don't know if I talked a little bit about that in the video yesterday, but basically, so we have another 60 at the farm. We'll do a little story time here. Story time with Bibster. So there's another 60 at the farm. This is where so if you guys go way back in the history lesson on the Jackson farms, when my would have been my great grandpa went from when my great grandpa went from oh wait, just one great, maybe great, I think it was just one great. Yeah, when my great grandpa went from horses. So, yeah. Um, when my excuse me, when my great grandpa went to, if he was talking about that, his 19 won't be there, but which makes sense. There's that. It's kind of a bummer. I didn't realize there was gonna be a testing tune that day. Kind of keeping some of Wisconsin guys up there, but heck, that's a haul. But when my great grandpa went from horses to tractors, it was an Oliver 60, is what he started with, and so that's not the Oliver 60 we have at the farm. Obviously, the one I'm working on we got 2 years ago, or 2 years ago at this point, or a year and a half ago. But the other one at the farm that you guys have probably never seen, I've like pointed at it twice. My grandpa bought in I think the 60s, like early 60s, and it had been rebuilt at some point, and basically pretty early on that point, probably 64, mid 60s, sometime in there. It had it created a window. A rod went to the side of the block, and because of that, Grandpa just parked it because he wasn't gonna. It was a tractor. It didn't really fill a need for any of the horsepower he needed. It was just something he had. I think he probably picked it up cheap at an auction or something. And so it just parked. And then we actually it used to be a row of 270s and a 60, which I always thought was kind of neat because at one point, that's what Grandpa had. He had 270s and a 60 on the farm before, not that 60, but it was another one. And then it's 270s, and we still have one of those 70s, but now we have, if I get that other 70 running, we have 270s and a 60 that run at the farm again. But I've digressed. So this other 60, you got a big hole in the side of the block. You're like in the mid 60s, and it sat. When I was a little kid, I used to sit on it all the time. That was one of my like tractors I'd sit on and pretend I was driving it around. Mostly that one because it still had the clutch, the shifter still moved, so you could like put it in different gears. Well, we finally got it years ago. We finally pilfered it into the barn because we wanted to get it out from not being not being outside, get it out of the elements after 85 years. Yeah. And so, I mean, it's like I said, it's not the one that he started with. It was one that he bought after, kind of as a remembrance of the one he started with. And so he had it. And so but I kind of talked to Dad about it, and I had the idea last week, a couple weeks ago. I was like, I want to do a Predator motor tractor. It's the latest craze. Everyone goes to Harbor Freight, spends $200, gets a Predator 212 motor, and puts it in something. Now, this is a very long-term project. We have about 15 other projects up I want to start and get going. But I talked to Dad about it, and he gave me the green light that it's for it to be my baby. And so we're gonna put a Predator motor in that tractor. And because the advantage with an Oliver is it's a full frame, so all I have to do is basically, it's not like it's part of the frame of the tractor. So all I have to do is basically make some mounts. Probably do, if there's a YouTube channel I talked about a couple weeks ago called Key Farm, and he's done some Predator stuff, and so I'll kind of copy his design on how he did the actual hooking it up into the tractor transmission with some kind of a gear ratio down, like probably like a 3-to-1, maybe something like that. Because basically the Predator motor is going to spin at like 3,600 RPM, and the tractor would have only spun at like 1,500 RPM, and the tractor made more torque than what that little 6.5 horsepower as a Fury is going to do. So you just gear it down 3-to-1. So yeah, you're still not going to be able to do the same stuff, but it'll move its own power and be able to dink around and do some fun stuff. So that's kind of a long-term project, but it might even be something that, depending on how this year goes with some of my other projects, like maybe next winter, it's what I bring into the shop for the winter. Dad and I kind of talked about that, just because if we can dig it out, it can sit. It's the same size as the VAC, and it can sit right where the VAC is sitting right now, and be just kind of there to slowly get figured out. Like I said, we got to do a lot of work on it, but I mean, a lot of work on making sure like the rear end still moves and get tires for it. But I just thought I'd kind of give the shout out that I'm going to be trying to do that. So hopefully at some point, next time there's a big sale, I'll probably actually try and buy the motor just to have it around. And then the whole joke will be that'll be Glenn's first tractor, because it would have been my grandpa, which is his namesake, so it'll be his great grandpa, had a 60, and that was one of his first tractors that he was on. All right, man. See you later, Dave. And so that would be kind of a cool thing. it'd be something fun to take the shows. And like I said, half it's like it's gonna do good on. I figured it'd do good on YouTube, and half it'll be a fun little tractor to take the shows. And we're gonna make like a little grandkid puller thing that'll like go behind a lawn tractor. So that'd be something we could pull it with that, and it'd be so light in the front end, like 2 guys could pick it up and move it around. So that's something way going down the line, coming up to the on the channel. But there's something to think about. If y'all haven't done anything with Predator motors and you got here's the centrifugal clutch to use, any stuff like that, let me know in the comments, because that'll definitely help out as I'm on the jungle site checking out, trying to find the best deal on things. Because you always got to find a deal, as you guys know. But yeah, so that's kind of future plans. Let's see. So we went through, no racing happened this weekend. No polling happened this weekend. Nothing really sports-wise here. Hopefully very soon, like I said, in the next couple weeks, this will be a lot different, because it'll be more, here's where we went polling, here's where, I'll be doing this from hopefully the farm, and this thing won't be sitting behind me. I do have a nice light on it. I mean, look at the front end. It looks so pretty there. And so that'll be a little more exciting as we do that. But yeah, so trying to think if there's anything else that's really present to what the on for over the weekend. Yeah, like I said, I'm taking Friday off of work to get the stuff ready for the show. So hopefully the 60 runs really fast are really good for that. And then we're gonna be, like I said, just making videos a whole bunch this week, working late, trying to get everything all wrapped up. Because I'm, in typical my style, I've procrastinated enough of the projects to do it, where now I'm all gun-ho and ready to just power through them. Like doing the sled. The sled's still needs a whole lot of parts. Hopefully parts come in this week. I ordered them last week. I should have ordered them like a month ago, but in my style, I waited and waited and waited, and then I finally ordered them. But yeah, so that's the exciting part about the show. Like I said, I'm hoping it's a good turnout. I'm hoping my goal is like 30 tractors, is what I'm hoping for. I know I'm just kind of stacking the deck, because I know between like what we're bringing and what a couple of my buddies are bringing, it's close to that number, but I'm just kind of hoping we have a decent turnout to what we're actually trying to do, because like I said, it's the first year. At the same time, no two. It's hard, because then it's right in the middle of planting season. We're around here, guys haven't been able to get in the field, so everyone's itching. So with a chance of rain on Saturday, but it's gonna be nice all week. So hopefully we'll see how that goes. What's going on, Shane? Oh man, all the Minnesota guys are in tonight. Not too much, just recapping the weekend a little bit. Trying to get a bunch of clapped out tractors all running. Like I said, I'm lucky. Somehow my garbage always somehow sort of starts. My only issue is I run out of fuel. I mean, I ran out of fuel in the 70. I put fuel in it and made it like 200 yards and ran out of fuel halfway up our lane. And the brakes in that don't work that well. So I had to like get a half turn sideways and get it fired up, and to say Dad was thrilled when he was giving me the fuel to put in it, and I didn't put enough fuel in it to actually make it more than 75 feet, he was thrilled. But yeah, I mean, that's just my style. But yeah, all the other stuff worked. 500 tons. Wow. That seems like a lot of chicken poo. That's fun. Yeah, I really should, because Shane, you don't even know, not showing, well, you'll be showing it to the world, just out of the back of a manure spreader. You have no idea, Shane, how many times I've run my tractors out of fuel. I once did another Bibster story time. Y'all will like this one. So right after I got the M, and I was taking it to shows, not really shows, I took it to a couple places, and it was back when I was living at my grandparents' old house. My wife and I were renting it from them. And it was kind of the beginning of like Kyle being the guy that lives in town with tractors. So I decided one Sunday I was going to just drive it to church and have an impromptu drive your tractor to church day. Not tell anyone else, just drive a tractor to church. So I did. I just drove to church. Thought it was funny. Had it parked out there, people were laughing about it. And everything was great. Went to leave, and our church is on kind of a busy road. Got to the end of the driveway, took a right to go up the hill, and make it 45 feet up the hill. Blah, 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 blah. Shuts off. Yep. Had run out of fuel. So, the clutch in, let it roll back into the driveway. My our retired senior pastor pulls up. He's like, everything all right? I was like, yeah, I'm just an idiot and never check fuel. Yeah, so that's the first time I ran out of fuel. I ran out of fuel once. Um, I ran the 70 out of fuel in town in Fulton when I was driving around. This one's probably almost out of fuel because the other day I was driving it around and I went up a hill and I think came off the pickup and it died in front of a guy's house and he came out and was like, everything all right? I said, yeah, I think I'm fine. I was planning on just rolling it back to the house, but I got enough of an angle to get fired up and drive it back where it's currently parked. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's out of fuel, or really close. So yeah, I mean, my Super 88, I ran that out of fuel, backing it out of when I used to work at Stoker Trucking. I had it inside, and I was going to take it to a show, and I just hopped on thinking it was going to be fine. Oh, yeah, and that one ran out of fuel. I put enough fuel in it to get to the gas station, barely. I mean, because the problem, too, is I also kind of just road cruise my tractors in town, so that burns more fuel than I'm expecting it to. I mean, there was a solid week when I worked at Stoker Trucking, and I lived in Fulton. I lived about 2 miles from work, and my truck was broke down, but the water pump was out of my truck. So for a week straight, I drove this to and from work and parked it on the street in front of my house. And it was a busy road. And I would just park it in front of the house and go inside and get lunch and go back out and get on the tractor and drive back to work. And silly things is what I like to do, is what I'm more saying here. So yeah, so for me to run tractors out of fuel is just commonplace. I also don't ever drive anything that has any kind of a fill, or you can tell how much is in there. I ran it out of fuel after a pull. Like, I was so low on fuel at that pull. I'm pretty sure if I had hooked a fourth time, I would have run out on the track. Because I'm an idiot. See, when I say I do dumb things, I do dumb things. Let's see, when else have I run it out of fuel? A lot. I mean, to the point where you just usually put 5. Yeah, almost at a pull. So what happened was, after we broke our trailer going home, and I unloaded the tractor to drive it like a quarter mile up the road, and it ran out of fuel driving it up the road. I didn't want to put much fuel in it. I was trying to pull. So that's why I actually have it set up to run that smaller tank. So I can actually just put a gallon in and know there's a gallon in there. Also, it'll make a very nice reserve tank when I do run out of fuel the next time. Because guess what? I'll probably do that. The problem will be, if you all know me, I'll go to switch to the reserve tank, and I'll also have that out of fuel. Ironically, I've only run one vehicle out of fuel, like driving down the road. That was my old 77 truck. I ran it out once going to work when I was in high school. But that thing drank so much fuel, you might as well have just had a 5-gallon bucket on top of the carburetor and just put a ball valve on and just fed it straight in. Because giving a 16-year-old kid a 460, 77 F-150 with the 460 in it and 33 mud terrain tires, terrible idea. Terrible. I worked all week just to be able to fill the thing up. Yeah. See, that's how it works, Tom. Just all my stories are, yeah, I ran out of fuel doing that. I ran out of fuel. I mean, all of my tractors, the only tractors I haven't run out of fuel are the ones that I haven't had running long enough to run them out of fuel. Yeah, I love it was a fun truck. We still have another, my dad's old 85 will probably be on the channel at some point this summer. And that's got a 460. And that's got some weird running issues that I think I gotta get going to. But yeah, I mean, it's just, who needs to put fuel in them? And also the other problem is all my gas caps are all junk. So none of them are like seal. So if my tractors sit at all, most of the gas just evaporates away. So you just know every time you go to them, they're going to be empty. It's what happens. Most of them leak too. This one finally stopped leaking. This one used to leak for years. It's going to mostly be gone. Gas got to like $4 a gallon. Should probably fix that. That's how that goes. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to tractors, there's a reason why Dad always usually brings 5 extra gallons, because it's going to be because Kyle didn't put gas in or anything. Just went for it. I don't plan ahead. We've learned this. If you've been on my channel at all, you see how this works. There's no planning ahead. There's just, it's almost like a skunk around here. There's just, going for it and then failing horribly. Bringing it to you guys to view. But anyway, it's been about 40 minutes, so I think I'm going to wrap it up just because I've been mumbling probably for 20. And actually, I'm probably going to run out of fuel. It's been a long weekend. And it's going to be a pretty long week. So stay tuned to the channel, like and subscribe. You guys know all the things. Share the videos. Helps me out a ton. Thanks, everybody, for doing that. Let me know how you guys like the Bibster React video. The video from Friday night. If you haven't watched it, check that out. It's kind of a different style video for me. I'm actually sitting right here. I just had the garage door down. And we talk a little bit about stuff in the industry, what's going on. And like I said, we talked about that $1.4 million tractor, that Case3060, that I think brought, opened a lot of eyes in the tractor collecting world. I think it's going to bring some more, maybe some bigger players into the tractor collecting world in the sense of what it's doing. But yeah, I got to get out of here. Check that video out. Check out, like I said, Crazy Day 4455. Check him out. Check out Fleagle as we get ready for the show this weekend. And you guys know what to do. We'll see you on the next one. Bye. Stop. Oh, yes, I want to stop streaming. Why would I hit the